So today we're talking about tough markets, and we're talking about how difficult markets, or frankly, the market that most of us are in right now, how they expose holes in your business and what to do about it. So this is a training that I think has been kind of a long time coming. I think there's a lot of people who kind of reacted to the posts that I've made about this recently. So we're really going to talk about why hard markets are kind of the ultimate truth teller. So in easy markets, almost anyone can create business, can close deals. There's high demand. So high demand in anything hides weak systems. But in difficult markets, whether we like it or not, every weakness in the business is kind of like becomes kind of obvious, right? So marketing gaps, sloppy follow up, your lack of having a niche or a target demographic that you're going after, inconsistency in your lead gen, poor financial habits, which Carolee and I have been talking about quite a bit recently. So, for example, when the market was hot, agents who were winging it still had business coming in, still had repeat and referral business because there was a lot of demand. Buyers and sellers were, in some cases, kind of desperate. Now, those agents, for example, are really those same agents who felt like business was feeling really easy are struggling. So, what I would ask is, as we get into this, start thinking about what's one area of your business that feels harder today than it did, let's say, like 2 years ago. And if you know like right off the bat what that is, just drop it in the chat, because I think that it is really important to kind of start to think about this. And it's easy to come to these trainings and just have me talk at you, but the people who really like make some changes from these are the people who really think through their own business as we go through this. So I'll ask it again. What's one area of your business that feels harder today than it did 2 years ago? And then if you can drop that, and don't, I mean, and I know that there's going to be people who are going to blame it on interest rates or blame it on, things like that, but we're going to stay away from that stuff because I really just want to focus on the things that we have in our control. So, so drop those there. Um, drop those there. I'm just taking a quick read through. Okay, cool. So now I want to go into like the four core holes that tough markets expose. Number one is lead generation dependency, or lack of different arms of business generation in your business. So what we talk about here, if we were talking about selling a business, the first thing that we would talk about is like key client risk, key platform risk, things like that, right? And a lot of real estate businesses have key, we're going to call it, key platform risk, where we have over reliance on referrals or over reliance on one platform, right? So when that happens, people are shocked that like the referrals that have been so easy, that have come in so regularly, all of a sudden aren't coming in the same way, right? Or, we see this sometimes too when someone has built their entire business on one single social media platform, and then they have an issue where that platform, they get banned on that platform, or they lose access to the platform, they get hacked on the platform, things like that, right? So we always want to have a little bit of safety nets. So so yeah, I mean, I think open houses are another really great example, Sean, right? He's saying pre-COVID he relied on open houses and they barely exist now, right? And so I think that it's very, very important to not have those quote unquote key platform risks. So that's one of the reasons why, like, we're even adding, if you're coming to Calgary, you're gonna be absolutely blown away by how much is being added in. And anybody who's in the listings labs, actually, there's big main two sections that are being talked about in Calgary and then added into the platform by the end of this month because of changes that we're seeing in the marketplace with AI, with things like that, we're always wanting to make sure that we are keeping you guys as up to date as humanly possible. So, number one is lead generation or client generation dependency on one platform or one area. Now, I've even seen where it's so targeted that most referrals are coming from a small number of people. That creates even more risk in the business, right? Especially when this can truly just be a mindset issue. Like, let's say that like 50% of your referral business comes from one person, and that one person in their head reads a news article that says, oh my gosh, the market's crashing. That may or may not be true, but that person has that in their head. You can't convince them otherwise. And now 50% of your business is gone because that person isn't going to be talking about referrals and business and real estate and things like that. They're going to spout their own views instead of sending you business. So again, this is one of the other reasons why I've always said my marketing is the cake and the referral business is always the icing because you cannot control the way that other people think about things. So that's number one. Number two is weak messaging. So this is also a core hole, and we're seeing this a lot. So not having a niche, talking to everyone. So like I can help first time buyers, downsizers, investors, I can help everybody because the reality is that all of those people need totally different content to convert. But most agents, and most of you guys here, especially if you're not new and you've been here for a while, most agents know that I push niche really, really hard and there's a reason for it. But most agents are posting generically. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw a little bit tongue in cheek, but also a little bit serious. I posted an Instagram story the other day of me saying, how do I know that my work isn't done? Because I just saw a post from an agent about National Guacamole Day. You laugh, but I did see that post and I was frustrated, right? So I think that things like that also really, really show a lack of understanding of how to market, how to speak and connect directly with an ideal client, right? So that's also an incredibly, incredibly important thing is the weak messaging creates a lot of issues. If you don't know how to take someone from complete stranger to inbound client through a social media journey, through a direct messaging journey, through emails, through the ways that people are actually taking in information right now, then you have a really big weakness in your business. And we're seeing that over and over and over again. We're auditing so many businesses right now because so many people are coming to us saying this market has killed my business. And I did a post yesterday or the day before about how so many people have waited too long. They've waited until there's desperation in their finances in order to get help. But when you do that, you don't give yourself enough runway. And runway is always really, really key. So the weak messaging or the lack of messaging or the lack of ability to speak to people and bring people in from multiple different areas and multiple different platforms, those are I would say the top two things that I would really want people to take into consideration if the market is having an impact on your business. The third hole that we see, so we've got lead generation dependency or, single platform risk. We have weak messaging. And the third one is inconsistent follow up. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit differently than I think that the average quote unquote real estate coach would talk about inconsistent follow up because I truly believe in automated follow up. And I think that in a lot of areas, and I've talked about this the last couple of weeks, is that agents are automating the wrong things and they're not automating the right things. Like if you, the automated responses in your DMs and Instagram saying your message matters to me and I will get back to you, like that creates less intimacy, that creates less connection. Whereas emails, retargeting campaigns, consistent social media, right? Having those follow-ups, having some text message or campaigns that go out that are very, very, very tailored to the people who they're going out to, right? I think that that stuff's really, really important. And sometimes it's not just the follow-up of, hey, I'm just checking in, you can have really targeted follow up. You can send a case study of a client that you're currently working with and why they're choosing to move now that may actually change the way that specific client is thinking about what they're doing online, or sorry, what they're doing in their move, right? So case studies are really powerful. I would almost say case studies are more powerful right now than testimonials. And there's a I would say the reason behind it is because that person might have in their head that everyone is stalled. Everyone is doing nothing. Everybody is in a holding pattern, and that's not true. So we really want to think through the follow up. How are we staying top of mind? I think that the days of manual follow-up are over because it is really impossible, especially if you are trying to grow an audience, if you are trying to have more attention and have more reach across multiple platforms. It is actually impossible to manually follow up with everybody unless you have a team of people following up. And even then, I think your team will be unhappy. So inconsistent follow-up is number three. Number four is there a follow-up? So quick question. Is there a good AI follow-up program that works like ManyChat? I am a big believer in ManyChat for sending out assets. Like if you ever ask for an asset from me on Instagram, you'll probably get it through ManyChat, but then that's where ManyChat stops. I'm never going to have a bot going in and like having a million back and forths with you. It's like in my Instagram DMs. I just don't think that it's creating the right feel. So like if I have 500 people that respond asking for, the hooks resource, which I did, yes, that was delivered through ManyChat so that I didn't have to send it to 500 people. But that was kind of where the follow-up stopped with ManyChat. If you look at my ManyChat chat campaigns, they're very short. Um, so yes, there is your CRM. Honestly, the action plans in your CRM are going to be incredibly, incredibly important. Um, so yeah, Barbara, if you want the hooks resource, absolutely. Do you follow me on Instagram? Are you connected with me on Instagram? Um, you don't know. Okay. So here, Carolee, can you drop my Instagram handle for Barbara? And then Barbara, you can even just send me a DM in Instagram that just says hooks and it will send it to you. Um, okay. So then the third one is business systems and scaling. So when things are slow, people tend to focus on a million different things, right? So I think that the tracking in your business becomes really, really important, right? So your actual real business system. So this is number four. So to go over them again, lead generation dependency or single platform risk, weak messaging, inconsistent follow-up, and your business systems, right? Tracking leads, managing money. In good times, those things can just feel annoying to have to stay up on top of. In bad times or in tough markets, they can be catastrophic. If you don't have a profit and loss statement in your business, you don't pay yourself a salary and you're not keeping your business money healthy, this is where it's going to show. This is where we're seeing people who aren't actually running a business, who are actually just like giving themselves a job. 100% of your business commissions, 100% of your commissions is not income. And that is incredibly, incredibly important to remember. You need to be paying yourself from from your business accounts. Can you guys hear the beeping on my computer? No? Okay, good. Because I can hear my Instagram DMs. And I just wanted to make sure you guys couldn't hear them too. So I think that it is incredibly, incredibly important that you are managing and tracking the right things, including in your marketing, right? You need to be tracking how many people are responding. What do your insights look like? How are people responding to different messaging? Because I think what happens so much, and I've talked about this quite a bit, is that people get focused on the wrong things. They get focused on only the hooks, right? Yes, the hooks resource is absolutely amazing and it's going to help. But if your messaging isn't right, if you have weak messaging, you're not niche down, you don't understand the psychology from stranger to client, your hooks aren't going to matter. It doesn't matter how good your hooks are. Like all of that stuff is bonus stuff after the core of your marketing is, I would almost say, perfect. Because if the core of your marketing is really, really sound, then all of that other stuff just adds to an already like bang on message. Because the messaging is what matters the most. And so then you can start tracking. You can start tracking the insights. You can start looking at drop offs. You can start looking at your marketing like a scientist. And that's where, the business systems really come in. So, like I said, tracking leads, tracking money, tracking conversations, also tracking team. And I think that for people who have teams, even if they're small teams, are you doing regular performance reviews? Are you doing energy audits or task audits on a regular basis? Are you 100% sure that you are not wasting time or wasting money even through other people? Because all of this becomes relevant to tightening your belt. And so this becomes really, really obvious. And what a great time to fix these things. What a great time to actually start to run a real business when you're not absolutely run off your feet. So I think all of this becomes really important. Carolee's going to reach out to Barbara. Barbara, you have a very nice face, by the way. Very beautiful. Carolee's going to reach out to Barbara, and we're gonna make sure that Barbara has what she needs. Barbara, if you don't know who Carolee is, she's essentially like, I say that she's like the next love of my life. She's like she's my COO, she's my right hand. So she's going to do all the things. So John's asking, do you look at email, Facebook, Instagram campaigns, daily performance? I don't you look at them daily. I think that daily is a recipe for stress. I do look at them over time. Like right now, if you look at Instagram, everyone's views are down on Instagram, right? There's something going on. They've just done an algorithm reset. So for those of you who don't know, before a couple days ago, if you posted more than one story, you did get a little bit of a views decrease. They have finally fixed that part of the algorithm. But whenever there's an algorithm fix that happens or rolls out on Instagram, the views are all over the place. Everything gets like wonky. So it's also one of those things that like, yes, track, but also don't get overwhelmed with it because kind of understanding that like there's been an algorithm change in the last week and like things may look a little strange this week. That's that's fine. But yes, you should over time be looking at also, what is your best content? What content performed the best? How do I recreate that content in a different way? How was the hook created? Can I use that same formula? Clearly, my audience likes that formula. How can I say the same thing in a different way? How can I provide value with this statement that people really liked, right? It's looking at what performed best and what didn't. But also, you also have to remember personal content will also always outperform business content. It's just the way that human beings are created, right? So if you're creating really good personal content, it will outperform every time. It doesn't mean to stop posting business content, right? It means that maybe it's an opportunity for you to look at the authority content or the case study content that you are creating and make it as good as it possibly can be. Um, what specifically to track? Yeah, I mean, I can do a full training on this. I think that like we'd be here for a while. Also, Deirdre, all of your tracking, and this is a really good question to ask in a 7F program, right? So this is a really good thing for you to ask in Discord. For tracking, we use Airtable for a lot of tracking. Airtable is like kind of our favorite place to like kind of pull data in and really take a look at it in a dashboard. It depends also on how big your business is. Like if you're doing 50 to $100,000 a year, do you need Airtable? No. You can literally just like have a checklist of things that you should be looking at and tracking and making sure that things are looking right. I mean, if you are pulling in $1 million a year, then yes, you should have something like QuickBooks. But if you're at $50,000 a year, you can be doing your entire P&L and all of your financial tracking in a Google Sheet, right? So I think it really does change as the business changes. There's not one hard and fast rule for any of this. Carolee, if you could just keep an eye on the comments for me. Um, so the way that I really want you to think about this is here's kind of like a silly analogy. It's an ocean analogy because I live where I live. It's low tide. The water pulls back. You see what's on the ocean floor. And now, right now, we're seeing in the business what's good, what's not, what needs work, right? And so what feels like a crisis or what might feel like a crisis in your business right now actually could end up being your competitive strategy. If you fix the holes, you'll grow faster than the people who don't. You'll grab up market share in a market where people really truly feel like they can blame the market for where they are. And so let's talk about fixes quickly. How to patch the holes. Build a multi-channel lead gen engine. Don't rely on a single stream, right? And so, if you know me, if you've read my listings lab guide, we've talked about omnipresence, right? So the omnipresence wheel, which I'm fighting with AI right now because I have a new slide that I'm creating for Calgary that I am not a graphic designer. So the omnipresence wheel that I created is extremely ugly. But Instagram, Facebook, we're adding in a little bit of YouTube, TikTok, if your niche is on TikTok, email, retargeting ads, right? That's your omnipresence wheel. So one post, one piece of content can be sliced into 5 different types of touch points with one single message. So it doesn't have to be a lot more work. It's just, are you showing up in multiple places? Are you building audience? Are you nurturing in all the places that people are spending time? Nail your niche and message. So if you are not niche down or you're a generalist or you're not creating really good quality content and social media hasn't been a focus of yours, who do you serve? What do you solve? Example, I help young professionals in LA build wealth through real estate acquisitions versus I help people buy and sell real estate. It's a very different type of messaging and it holds a lot more weight if you are specific, if you have a signature system or a service, right? So I think it's really, really important that you are nailing your niche and nailing your message in this marketplace. Now, if you have a niche and you have a message and you feel like you're out of some desperation, your real estate messaging has become a little bit watered down. Now is an opportunity to go back to your niche, to your message, to a little bit of market research and get really, really clear again and start being specific. Because that's really what's going to stand out in a marketplace of a whole bunch of agents talking about National Guacamole Day. So the third one is the systematize your follow up, right? So use your CRM, track every touch point. 80% of business is going to come from the fifth plus follow up, right? If you are in some of our programs, a lot of your follow up is already going to be automated. You're already going to have all of your email campaigns and your action plans and your follow up stuff like built in. But if you're in the listings lab, let's say, and you haven't gotten to that point and you stalled out, now's your time. You need to set that stuff up. I actually have a resource that I'm in the process of creating for you guys on also different messages that you can send to start conversations. So I'll have that probably ready for you next week. But all of that really, really matters in terms of like, you need to be top of mind. And top of mind awareness, yes, comes from the right niche and the right message. It comes from omnipresence, but it also comes from follow up and systematization. And then lastly, strengthen your operations. Document your workflows. If you haven't watched my document and delegate my delegation training, send me an email or a DM and I'll get that to you. So make sure that you can handle what it is that you want. Look at your listing prep, look at your buyer on board, look at your content creation, finally build out your financial tracking. All of this stuff is really going to make a really big difference. So when we talk about who thrives in a tough market, it's people who have all of these things. The reality is that this market isn't going away in the short term. And so for all of the agents who have been waiting and eating up their runway, their financial runway, their emotional runway, their energetic runway, whatever areas that like things have felt hard, right? Some sort of action needs to be taken sooner rather than later because it's not it in the short term it's not going to get better unless you actually like significantly change something, right? So we have so many people that are building businesses, growing businesses. I'm getting so many messages on a regular basis right now from people telling me that they're having their best years ever. They're having their best year in a year that so many people feel like they're struggling, right? And so I think it is really important. I don't know if you saw Carolee Elaine yesterday actually posted something on Instagram saying we're having our best year ever, even though everyone else is struggling. So I think that the key here is that tough markets expose, you fix, you win. That's as simple as it can get, right? Don't see this market as an enemy. See it as the test that you needed. And the faster you can plug your holes, the faster you will grow and you will kind of essentially get ahead of everyone else who's not plugging holes. Um, so I think that there's a couple of ways that you can kind of move forward with this. I can't give you the answer to every single thing because in your every single person who is sitting in this training right now needs a slightly different customized solution. And so, when you ask me questions like what should I be focusing on or how should and or how should I be plugging a hole, I don't know yet. I have to have a conversation with you. And so having some kind of support is incredibly important. If you want to have a conversation specifically about you, about the holes that you have in your business right now and how to plug them, send me an email. You can go jess@jesslenouvel.com or Jess at jesslenouvel.com. Just copy and paste whatever. Send me an email. You can send me a DM on Facebook. You can send me a DM on Instagram. There's a million ways to reach me. I think that if you're coming to Calgary next week, you're going to feel very supported and most of these things are going to get answered for you. I'm doing a 3-day live training in Calgary next week. If you're in Calgary or you're close by, I do have like one or two tickets that have come available from people who've had last minute. Ooh, Alex, send me a message. Let's hang out next week. Yeah, let me know. Alex, send me an email and we can try to get you in the room just because I have one or two people who have family emergencies that can't come, which happens always with events that are sold out. Um, I do think that the way that you think about this market will change the outcomes of what you get out of it. There's a lot of people sitting around you, whether it's in your office meetings, each agent friends, who will sit around and complain about the market. And if you are the person who looks for the holes and looks for the opportunity, you will do better than those people who are complaining. It just is what it is. Um, so absolutely just, find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Jess Lenouvel on Instagram. Same thing on, if you're not in the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. The Facebook group is the Listings Lab method for real estate agents. Um, and just keep coming to these Thursday trainings. These are every single week. So if you can come to them, I break down small pieces every week so that we can build something bigger and better. This has been one of the ones that I've actually stayed the most focused. I usually am a little bit of a I usually tell weird stories along the way. But yes, there's so much opportunity right now, and there's so many things that you can do. I would highly suggest if you are in a place where you're like, I need a program, I need coaching, I need something, please reach out to me. We will have a conversation. I will never sell you something that you don't need. Just reach out and have a conversation and see if there's something that will change something for you. Email is always great, but like I said, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, or email. Just send me a message. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So I hope you guys have the best week. I am actually going to try to live stream from my event next week for this training. So if you're not going to be in Calgary, you will still see me in Calgary. I'm going to try to live stream something from the edge of the stage, from my phone, and just so that you can be a little bit part of that event. If you're in Calgary, I'll see you in Calgary. If not, I will see you next week. Cool? Amazing, guys. Have the best week. Bye.